5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I promised myself I wasn't going to say anything else about this Colby Masvidal situation because the beef between those guys, this storyline is completely played out. I was actually talking to one of my listeners the other day about this very thing, how we were tired of the storyline. Now, guys, that was until I saw that there's apparently some sort of police report online outlining this incident. Okay? Now, that is notable for several reasons. Because in most cases, I'm one of those guys, the proof is in the pudding. Show me the proof. If you can show me the proof, i.e., because let me back up. Let me back up. I've said all along, and if you've been listening to me for a while, you know that I've said all along that I didn't really believe that the beef between those guys is real. All right. But I'm also one of those guys that, hey, show me the proof. You know, this is entertainment. And especially in the fight game, it's really, really easy to sell a manufactured beef because as fight fans, we want to see it, right? Because we want to believe it. It somehow just makes things that much more interesting to watch that fight when these guys are somehow beefing with one another, or if they hate each other, or they have a problem with one another. As fight fans, not me personally. I tend to, get more caught up in technical prowess. I love the martial arts aspect of it. So I'm one of those people that, the whole beef between guys before they fight, I can kind of take it or leave it. I mean, I admit the trash talk is sometimes entertaining to watch, but as far as whether guys have beef or not, doesn't really matter to me. But I am one of those guys that, look, show me proof, man. The proof in this case would be what? Well, a police report would be nice. If there's an actual police report, someone's getting charges brought up against them, naturally you would think, look, man, look, see, the beef is real, right? The beef is real. It has to be real. Why? Well, people don't just go and get felony charges brought against them on purpose, right? And then I thought about it and I was like, they don't? This happens all the time to much lesser people who don't have millions of dollars in the bank. This happens to, poor criminals on a daily basis that they go and get charged with some sort of felony or some sort of assault over much lesser things, too. Although in most cases, I would look at something like a police report, and in most cases, I think you might be able to point to it and say, hey, man, look, this guy broke the law to get at this guy. The beef is obviously real. But I'm one of those guys that I feel like Colby and Jorge are such close friends that they could actually pull off something like this together to help one another along in their careers over all this time perpetuating and faking this beef that they supposedly have with one another. So listen, let's back this thing up. So what makes you think that Jorge Masvidal cares about getting some felony charge brought against him, especially if the beef is not real? Listen, if the beef is not real and this is all faked, then we can safely say, okay, well, if that's the case, then obviously Colby and Jorge are still friends. They don't have a problem with one another, right? They're taking everyone for a ride. There is no real beef. So if Masvidal goes and he throws some sort of planned punch at Colby, And we're going to sit back and say, well, he wouldn't have done that if there wasn't a beef because, obviously he doesn't want to get, you know, convicted of a felony. Nobody wants that. Guys, Colby, the defendant in this case, or the victim in this case, has to be the one to agree to file charges. It happens all the time to, women and men in domestic cases. The man beats on a woman, she calls the police show up. Man, would you like to press charges? No, he didn't mean to. He's a good guy. He didn't mean anything by it. Really? So you're telling me that, and the only reason I'm saying this, because I've already looked, at what a lot of people are saying online, not necessarily with my videos, but I'm already looking and seeing what people are saying online about this. And people are, I knew it. I knew the beef was real all along. He wouldn't be, going after this guy in public and breaking the law and, the possibility of facing a felony charge and stuff like that if this beef wasn't real. Guys, Colby has to agree to press charges. The beef is not real, and these guys are actually still good friends through all of this. Colby's not going to press charges on Jorge. It's just not going to happen. You hear my dog in the background? Hey. It's my shepherd, guys. She is quite full of herself tonight. So you can't point to that and use that as a support for your argument that, well, the beef must be real, right? Masvidal officially broke the law and went after Colby in public. They've been saying the whole time it was on site. So obviously this beef is real, right? No, listen. Even if Colby was going to agree to press charges, and even if he went through with that, and it was a felony charge brought against Masvidal, guys, do you think Masvidal really cares about that? When does a felony and having a felony on your record really matter to anyone unless you are a regular old working class citizen, and after this said felony gets put on your record, you're having trouble getting a 9-to-5 and paying your bills and supporting yourself because all of the employers look at your application and they say, he had to check that box. He had to check that box where he has been convicted of a felony. That's the only time it matters. When is the next time you see Jorge Masvidal showing up at a McDonald's and filling out a job application to flip burgers? When do you think that's going to happen? I'm thinking never. Jorge Masvidal has earned enough money in his career where he likely never has to work a regular job again. He'll never have to work a 9-to-5. Masvidal is a wealthy individual at this point, plus just signed another lucrative contract with the UFC, and that lucrative contract is based on his previous pay-per-view sales, and he's one of the highest grossing pay-per-view sellers that the UFC has ever had, next to Conor McGregor. All right, and GSP's up in there somewhere. Jorge Masvidal is a huge star. So if you're going to tell me that this is what you're going to point at to convince me that this beef between them is actually real, there's two problems with that argument. Jorge Masvidal can only get charged with a felony if Colby Covington agrees to continue with pressing the charges, which he's not gonna. Watch. Just watch. And watch what I'm saying come to fruition. How much do you want to bet that Colby Covington does not press charges against Jorge Masvidal? And as far as any legal implications here, it just kind of fades to black. And in another week, we're just not hearing that much about it. But we will have that memory. We will have that memory of the fact that Jorge Masvidal attacked Colby Covington in a public place, which further perpetuates not only that beef, but that's right, a second fight. You guys are so smart. You guys are so smart. Both of these guys are right around the corner from probably retiring in a few years. The name of the game for Colby and Masvidal right now, money fights. Money fights, money fights, money fights. Give me the money fights. That's what both of them are wanting. Both of them are big stars right now. All of this is in an effort to get that second money fight. Guys, they made bank on the first one. And as long as they continue to perpetuate this beef, most of the people out there are going to believe it. Because why? We're MMA fans. The beef makes it more fun to actually watch the fight, which is why fight hype is what it is today in the first place. Now listen, it's just my opinion, so I'm not patting myself on the back for being right or wrong, because I can't prove it. I can't prove that I'm right any more that you can prove that I'm wrong. And unless Colby or Jorge come out at some point and say, yeah, we're just messing around. Guys, we're just messing around. We took you off for this big, huge, long ride, and you guys fell for it. We're just trying to make more money, and it worked. Unless one of them comes out and says that, then you can't prove that I'm wrong. I can't prove that you're wrong. So it's not about who's right or wrong, because neither one of us can disprove the other. So it's not even about that. This is not about ego. This is all only my opinion of what I think is transpiring here. And let me digress. Colby and Masvidal are not going to come out and say that. At least not before they both retire. They're not going to come out and say that. Listen, they have plenty of money. Why does Masvidal care about catching a felony charge when it's his best friend that he attacked? And they're sitting behind the scenes texting one another, hey man, I'm going to be up at Pappy's tonight. Come on up there. Let's do our thing. Let's start selling that second fight. Oh, what? Jorge doesn't want a felony because, what? He's afraid he's going to have to check that felony box on a job application when he goes to get a job in a couple of years? Why would he do that when he's already got millions and millions in the bank and is priming this situation for a second fight with Colby where he'll make an additional millions? That's what I got, guys. See you next time.
Can't wait, no time is game, so I just put it all my way. All I need is love, all I need is upside.